Hey, it's Callan from Authentic Lifestyle Design, and today I want to talk to you about how overstimulation is ruining your life. This is something that's a massive problem in modern society, and if you can catch it, you can actually enhance your life in so many ways. So basically, what a super stimuli is, it's something that stimulates your brain, like your dopamine receptors and so on, more than they can naturally be stimulated. And generally, it's the abuse of those things or doing those things so often that the brain gets used to those. Now, there's some massive problems with this because your brain is very sensitive and it adapts to what you throw at it. So if you're constantly stimulating your brain, if you're not allowing time for your brain to rest, or you're giving it stimuli that are far stronger than what it's built for, that in the long term is going to make your mind less sensitive and it's going to dull everything around you. It's going to make your whole life experience seem lesser than what it could have been. And that's essentially what a super stimuli is. It's something that gives you more reward than naturally your brain was built for. Now, some really good examples, if I had to name three, one would be junk food. It'd be eating food that's far beyond, it stimulates our brains and our reward centers in our brains far beyond what they're naturally built for, right? That'd be the first one. The second one would be using illicit substances, right? Because again, when you're doing that, it is sparking up your brain. It's giving your brain rushes of different chemicals that are far stronger than what the brain's naturally built for. And the third one I want to talk about is pornography, because again, pornography is something that sparks your brain up way more than it's naturally built for. And those are just three. And it sounds great, doesn't it? Just amping up your reward centers of your brain. What could go wrong? Let's go into that. So, the thing that can go wrong is if you overstimulate your mind adapts, right? Same as your muscles, if you go and do push-ups and stuff, you're going to gain muscle. Or if you lost an eye, the other eye is going to be doing more work, it might actually enhance. Or if you go deaf, your vision might go better. If you go blind, your hearing might become better. So that's how our brain works. It's constantly adapting, it's constantly evolving to the current place you're in. So, what happens if you're constantly stimulating it with junk food and illicit substances and porn and all these other things that aren't really going to help? What happens eventually is the brain gets used to that flood of dopamine, and because of that, it builds a new threshold. And when it builds that new threshold, it means that things that used to make you happy no longer compare to the junk food, the porn, or the illicit substances. And because of that, things that you used to enjoy, things that you used to get a reward from, no longer give you that reward. They no longer make you feel the way they made you feel. So, why exercise and get that natural rush of exercise if you can simply just go and smoke some weed, or you can just go and eat some crappy food, right? For your brain, it doesn't make sense. Logically, it makes sense. But your brain's going, well, why would I do this when I can do this? And that's going to give me 10 times more of the reward, right? Because you've overstimulated your brain, you've fried it in the way that natural highs no longer feel like highs. Because you're putting in all these artificial highs, all these kind of man-made highs that are far higher than what the natural highs are. And because you're doing that, it makes your brain overall less sensitive. It makes you feel emotions less fully, and one of the worst things it does is it cripples your motivation. Because you're no longer motivated to do things, because you've got your brain full of this super stimuli that's slowly destroying your productivity and not making your life what it could be. And this happens to so many people. I just want you to sit for a second, pause the video if you want to, and think about the people in your life. How many people in your life are basically ruled by this? How many people in your life just live in front of a telly, or live on the internet, or live on online gaming, or eat rubbish food, or gain heaps of weight and just don't seem to care about fixing it? All these things, or watch too much porn. Not that they're going to talk about that, but that's a thing that happens. And yeah, just look at people doing these things and understand that that's super stimuli. Understand that the fact they're doing this thing over and over again has a negative impact long term on their life. It destroys their motivation, it destroys their reward system, and makes them less sensitive. Because they're always up here, and that artificial dopamine surge just becomes their normal. It no longer feels good, it just becomes normal. And they get addicted. They get addicted to that chemical rush. And stopping that just sounds inconceivable. Why would they do that? Because, yeah, they wouldn't feel good, but there'd also be a period of coming down. Because what comes up must come down. So they've gone and chased all these highs, being natural highs or artificial highs. And what happens when they start to come down is it's very difficult. That's why things like meditation, sitting, being, cutting out a lot of the crap can actually be really useful. For example, it's okay to do anything in moderation pretty well is okay. Most things, you know. You eat a bit of junk food, it's fine. You go out for a few drinks on the weekend, it's fine, right? And so on. But if you drink every day, or you eat junk food constantly, that's going to have negative impacts. Not just on your body, but it's also going to have negative impacts on your mind, because you're training your brain to constantly be really highly stimulated and have your reward system constantly stimulated, which makes it stronger. It's the same as when someone takes steroids. If they take it for too long, then when they stop taking the steroids, their brain can sort of forget how to produce testosterone by itself. And it's not like that where your body's reward system will constantly crash, right? But it will take months for it to get back to normal. And you'll be craving this junk food. It'll be like going on a diet. It's like a dopamine detox, I think, is a popular word for it these days. And it'll be like going on a diet. It'll be like dropping all of that surge of chemical pleasure that you used to have. And as a result of that, you're going to want it. You're going to crave all these things even more. And you've got to have the discipline not to cave, not to crumble into those things. Even if that means full abstinence and cutting all of this stuff out of your life for a little while, maybe that's what you have to do, you know? And you've got to gradually cut this stuff out, because what it does is it really does. It gradually ruins your life. It ruins your motivation. It kills your productivity. Like, the internet's awesome, for example. The internet's an amazing tool, right? A really amazing tool. But at the same time, the internet has done a lot of damage. Social media has done a tremendous amount of damage, because people are constantly like fishing. They're throwing something out there, they're waiting for likes, and when they get those likes and it gives them dopamine sparks, they get comments and they feel good, they do it again and again and again, right? Attractive people, you see all the girls on Instagram posting photos, getting hundreds of likes and just going, oh, the brain's just firing all day, getting all that validation, all that dopamine, right? But what that does is it makes all the natural everyday things that happen in your life boring and uninteresting and uninspiring, because now you're playing at a different level. Your brain's at this natural surge of dopamine. So if you want to feel a high, you've got to go and do something really extreme, such as going and doing some illicit substance, or going and watching some weird video, or going and doing some crazy out there thing that you might not otherwise have done. And it's essentially a life of being an addict to sparking that reward center constantly beyond what it could naturally be. And the price you pay is the everyday little subtleties in life lose their meaning. For example, if you watch porn all the time, you'll become essentially numb to women. You know, you'll see hot women walk past and you won't look, you won't care, you won't even notice them, because your brain's so jacked up on porn. But if you cut it out, you'll start to actually see these little subtleties. You'll start to see people and see they're attractive and feel a spark and get a pull. Or if you stop binging yourself with junk food like sugar and salt and really high concentrations of this stuff, then you'll be able to go and have something like a baked dinner, which if you're on a junk food binge, you probably won't eat. But when you calm down, you can eat your baked dinner and you can really enjoy all the little subtle flavors. You know, it's such an interesting thing to eat healthy food. As you stop eating all the crap, healthy food actually tastes yummy. It actually tastes nice, right? So, same with exercise, you know. You'll be motivated to exercise because when you're done, you'll feel good. And you'll feel the benefits of that in your life, both short-term and long-term. And there's so many other little bits and pieces, but I hope that I've made you to reconsider that if you're spending your whole life just tech binging, be that YouTube or video games or whatever it is for you, that you're using to constantly spark your reward system beyond where it's naturally supposed to go, give it some thought and step back. And don't necessarily stop, but assess your relationship with that stimuli and analyze, is that stimuli serving you, or are you more of a slave to that stimuli? Can you live without it? Is it something you need? Is it something that's helping you to become who you want to be? And if not, you might choose to cut back on that. So if you gained any value from this video, give it a like for me, leave me a comment to let me know what you think, and share it with anyone you think it will help. Because realistically, there's a lot of people out there I believe have to hear this, and I think it can be a really important message because it's common sense. We all know this. We all know that if you blast your brain with reward chemicals, that it can lead to harm. I mean, that's why I guess illicit substances were made illegal, was one of the reasons, because governments were scared of people doing that and becoming unproductive or addicted, right? Now, that's no different with other things like junk food and porn and all these other things. Just because they're legal doesn't mean they're good for you. So, apart from that, peace out and enjoy the rest of your day.